here's the Prophet ﷺ, as you mentioned, he comes with this great, deen, this vision for society, for looking after the weak and the vulnerable, for looking after, for addressing injustices, racism, all these things. He's got a vision for that, not just for his Muslim, community in Medina. He's thinking about the Jews, the Christians, the whole world actually. Rahmatan lil alameen. So, how can we change that mindset, from this very narrow to a more broader vision for society, and how, how can we do that? What steps maybe we can take in that direction?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's the most fundamental thing, right? Like,
but that goes back to really what you have as your deen. Is your deen just for us and a few people in our community, or is it for humanity?
Well, this is the thing, right? So it's a really simple. It's the most simple. It just sounds. It's so obvious that it sounds even strange to say it. Okay, Allah is not the God of the Muslims. He's God of all people, right? An example, any human example of good characteristics, behavior, etc., is just an example for people. So again, it comes back to everything. Well, I've been trying to say, and has been said already, which is that the common humanity, right, and the common human endeavor, purpose, journey that exists is something that's where we need to pay attention to. So even when others seek to divide and break people up into different groups and labels and identities and this and that and what have you, that we come back to principles and universal concern. Universal concern is the starting point of all of the prophetic endeavors, right? You can't even begin a meaningful honoring of the prophetic legacy if universal concern is not there, right? I mean, that's literally how every prophetic story fundamentally begins, right? That is, it is typically, not always, but typically, it's a person who within their context of their entire society realizes that there's something fundamentally wrong, there's some injustice, there is some misplacing or sort of problem in the worldview that then is meaning from a kind of ritual or devotional standpoint, people are, showing their devotion to gods other than God, whether that's from that point of view or practically other gods other than God, such as power, fame, money, whatever it might be, as the objective other than God. And they go out and they're trying to look, and that has consequences, and they look to go and clean that up. And by definition, it makes, like, the analogy I give for this, as contrasted to the other groups that we spoke of earlier, whose examples are not ones you can learn from them if you want to, but they're not necessarily examples to emulate. But the analogy is like to follow the pathway of environmentalists, right? If someone's part of what you call a green lobby or an environmentalist, by definition, that's a universal endeavor, right? Because it's not like people who are there for environmental benefit or protection are doing it for themselves. By definition, it's about everybody, because it's about, it's something that necessarily concerns everyone. When we talk about Islam, submission to God, devotion to God, or La ilaha illallah, monotheism as a principle around which human beings need to organize themselves, that's not particular to these people or those people. That's existential. That's like every person or community or society needs that. So the way practically to bring this into account is to think about any positive work that we do, why is it that, or narrative that we have, why are we limiting that to Muslims? And in 99% of situations and cases, you'll realize there's actually no reason to do that whatsoever. Even down to things like Salah. There is no reason why a mosque can't make it known to the entirety of its locality that at any point someone wants to come and join and try this thing out. They can join. What's wrong with that? In fact, that's precisely the thing that people should be doing. Right? If a mosque is going to do a community sort of a service, right? Mosque in the minds of mosque committee members and trustees and management and whoever, and even the congregation, this is a place for us. Why? Who said? Why is it not that anything and everything that you do, whether it be a women's group, an elderly group, a youth group, or this, that, what have you, why can anyone not come? Like in my local area, some time back when I was involved more directly in the mosque, and I said, look, okay, some excellent activities happening. So the concern is we want to bring, young Muslim boys or girls into the mosque so that they are kind of like off the streets and they're building community, a sense of, and like learning and having fun and having positive association with this place and what have you. Okay, all the typical stuff, which all makes sense. But if you ask the question, like all of the things that you're trying to protect these young people from, do they not apply to literally every other 16-year-old or teenager? Of course they do. So why can't they come? See, so something really basic and simple, which is what we said before. When we look to add value, why is it we only look to add value to ourselves? So our public engagement is either economic, to draw resources, Or it's more public and social engagement with regards to, like, if it's on behalf of this entirety of this community, then it's typically, again, what we need, what we want, how we're not accepted, how we're not tolerated. This is it's a completely failed strategy. It's existentially failed. God does not look at this strategy with any kind of sympathy, because it is, by definition, selfish. By definition. So any active, whatever it might be, any narrative, as I said earlier, if you're going to go against injustice, then show a concern for injustice across the board, not just injustice that concerns you, right? Any value or anything, any value, service, product, this, that. I'll finish with this one example because it's a little bugbear of mine, yeah? Islamic finance, okay? It's like, why is Islamic finance about products and services for Muslims? Why? Is it that the things that are economically or more moral, more appropriate, like things that are ways in which to manage money, is that like, does everybody not need those solutions? So why are you marketing them, labeling them as if it's just this ethnic foreign thing that no one can understand? So language plays a big role in this as well. Like, so you realize that actually, you know, and I'm not at all taking away from it. Like we've said, yes, there are people who have their, it's not surprising. People have their own agendas, their own issues, their own bigotry, their own hatred, prejudice, whatever. But I'm a great believer in there's things you can control and there's things you can't necessarily control. And if 99% of the things that we can control, we're not even doing those things, why are we even talking about external? You know, like we should be aware of it and all of that, fine. But there's so many things that we can do to, again, bring the value. When you bring the value of submission to God and show it, it becomes irresistible. Okay, everything else will fall in relation to it. Okay, so the haqq was the haqq al-batil. When truth comes, it wins, and falsehood will go away. You just need to represent that. It's like shining the light. You shine, if you become prisms to reflect divine light, it's just like this is said, it becomes beautiful. You can't resist. But the house that we occupy at the moment is not an attractive place, right? And the doors are closed. And then we're blaming people for throwing stones. So no, open the doors. Clean up inside, make it beautiful, build it, and they will come.